Good morning. Welcome to Hatha Yoga for Everybody with Jennifer Eubank on Zoom. Thursdays at 9 from the comforts of your living room or your dining room, or maybe you're in your backyard. I don't know.
I got it. I made it.
Oh, okay. Here comes Kitty. Thank you, Kitty. Thank you for telling me you're here. We're starting in a reclining position. We need blocks and a blanket as per usual. And we'll take a few moments to settle in. Maybe take some nice cleansing breaths. Helping you to purify your body. Wipe the slates clean. Settling into your space. Taking a few moments to understand your surroundings today. What's it like to be in this space? And how might this space's feeling, overall aura affect your practice? Be mindful of your environment. And even if it's not quite perfect, see if you can find your sense of santosha, your contentment. Maybe close your eyes and take a few moments to notice how your body feels in your space. And how your body feels, aside from the space. What's going on with your body today? We've already covered our first two niyamas, our personal habits, our personal behavior, satya, purity, by taking those cleansing breaths, helping to purify the body, the breath, even the emotions. Tapping into our sense of santosha, our contentment. Can you be satisfied with what's going on in the here and the now? Santosha. Notice your breath flowing through the body, enlivening the body, nourishing the body, creating space in the body, relaxing and releasing tensions in the body. That's a lot of stuff that the breath can take care of. And I didn't even mention everything. Let's go a few more moments. One more breath. And we'll remain in our reclining position. Let's go into one of my favorites lately, starfish pose. Very simple pose, but gets a lot done. So first things first, we're lying down on the floor. Extend your legs out in front of you. So if they're bent, go ahead and extend them. And then bring the feet and knees wide. Not real wide so that you compress your hips, but wide enough so that you know there's more space between the feet and the knees. And feel that space in your pelvis and your lower back being created. And settle in. The legs can be at attention. They can be nice and strong, engaging, or they can be a little bit more lightweight. You have options. And then whenever you're ready, add the arms into it, bringing the arms out shoulder height. And by shoulder height, I mean, make sure that your elbows and your hands are shoulder height, not higher. Let's start level for those first few moments. And your hands can be facing the ceiling to open up your shoulder girdle and your chest and your armpit area, tapping into your lymphatic system. Or the hands can be facing the floor to make you feel a little bit more grounded, rooted, and safe. And I suggest that you play around with those two tiny actions throughout our time here, because that can change your experience. And you have time. As we'll stay here for a few minutes. Anytime you need to make any adjustments to the feet and the legs and those hands and arms, do so. And try to stay moderately still, relatively still throughout your time here, because that's how the pose is more effective, stillness. And the width in the shoulder girdle and the hip and pelvic girdle will allow that spine to settle even more so to its neutral, natural shape. Curves, but extended. You might feel the small of your back dissipating and getting a little closer to the earth. And you might also feel that in your neck, because they're both concave curves. So you might feel those concave curves becoming less concave. And you might also feel your convex curves, your thoracic spine, where the ribs attach, and the lower portions, your sacrum and tailbone, you might feel them becoming less concave. Convex, excuse me. So if you have issues with hunching over too much in your daily activities, or you find yourself swaying your low back, too much of an arch in your low back, this is one of the most effective things that you can do to work out those exaggerations. But it takes time, it takes commitment, it takes attention, and it also takes good breath. So we're applying today's Niyama, Tapas, to stillness, heat, discipline, effort. Your effort doesn't always have to be action oriented. It can be a quiet effort. So do your best to stay with it. And when you can, if it's there for you, let's apply some breath work to this position. Let's do some good old-fashioned belly and pelvic breath. So as you're ready, focus on the inhales and the exhales, all done through the nose. Feel that general rhythm of your breath, that general path that the breath takes as it goes in and out. And then see if you can regulate that path, direct that path, bring that breath down into the belly and pelvic region, filling up that area, expanding that area as you inhale and deflating it back down as you exhale. And you are feeling space by the breath, but not in the belly. Breath goes in the lungs, and then its energies are sent throughout the body. So it's really making that belly rise and fall is the muscles moving the bones out of the way to allow those lungs to expand and deflate. So this deep pelvic breathing is conditioning your breath, bringing more vibrancy to it and more efficiency and effectiveness, cleansing your body, heating up your body just by breathing. Tapas refers physically to the heat and the purification of our bodies. So it's similar, related to our first one, Sacha, purification. They kind of go hand in hand. And you can purify your body through strengthening, conditioning, flushing away toxins. So we'll do lots of vinyasa today, movements to flush out our bodies, to pump up our lymphatic system, which flushes and cleanses the body. And we'll be doing some core work to heat up these big, strong principal muscles of our bodies. And as we apply this tapas to our physical level, we might find it being applied to our emotional level, allowing negative feelings to rise to the surface and gently be dealt with skillfully rather than being consumed by these negative emotions. And tapas is about learning how to deal with your emotions skillfully. So let's go a few more moments in this pelvic breath, in this position, noticing your ability to stick with it, your ability to stick with the pose and the breath. Embracing the challenge, facing the heat, channeling your energies, transforming negative energies, awakening our spiritual journey towards growth, discipline, effort. So as you're ready, come on back to natural breath. And then as you're ready, bring your arms a little closer in and your feet and knees a little closer in. And then bend your knees, feet on the floor. Feet on the floor. And you decide how wide you want the arms, because we'll do some windshield wipers. And let's do the kind where we put one foot up on the knee, on the opposite knee, four-legged wipers. And once you have established that and got your arms where they want to be, start your wipers, bringing that leg structure back and forth. And start just with the legs and get that lower half twisting. Bring the breath into it, inhaling with one motion, exhaling with another, and then bring your head into it, back and forth from side to side. And then eventually make it so the head is going in the opposite directions. Pay attention to all these little details, the nuances of adding new elements to your movements, training yourselves to be attentive. And tapas not only heats up the body, but it allows us to be more mindful, more aware. Let's do a few more. Try to remember which side you started on and end on the opposite. Coming back to the center as you're ready and keeping that foot on the knee for a breath or two. You don't want to rush through things. Feel the effects. Then you can bring that knee down, and same thing here. Take a couple of breaths. Feel the effects. Effort in your stillness. And then we'll do the other side. Other foot comes up on the knee, the ankle. And when you feel good and situated, start the movement. Add the breath and the head, bit by bit. What's it like on this side? We'll go a few more rounds. Try to remember what side you started on, ending on the opposite, and back in the center, bit by bit as you're ready. Couple of breaths with the foot still on the knee, and then back down and take a couple of breaths there. And I can't help but think about digestion and elimination when we bring the idea of tapas into our practice. So let's do a little apanasana, wind release action. Draw your belly in before you hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice little hug, pressing the legs into your belly, maybe rocking a little from side to side. Moving your feet to engage the leg muscles, which will help support your joints. And then, as you're ready, come to a central position. Knees and feet can be close or they can be one, whatever works for you. And from your base, start some hip rolls. And make sure you keep your hands on the legs so that your legs are good and rooted, and that gives you a little bit more of a foundation, a stable foundation, especially for the belly and the low back. And make sure that you're looking straight up at the ceiling, that you're not looking at the wall, the ceiling behind you. You don't want that lift in that chin like I'm showing right now. You want a nice neutral neck and head, maybe even a little tilt to your chin into the neck there, lengthening that spine. This is so good for your digestion and elimination, these hip rolls. Let's go the other direction. We want to be disciplined and make sure that we pay attention to keeping balance within our practice, that we don't give one side more attention than the other. That's applying our sense of tapas to our practice. Let's go a few more rounds. Come back to center. Stay there for a few breaths. And then let's rise up. I'm going to come up bit by bit. This is a nice way to stir things up, rocking from length to length. And eventually find the energy to roll all the way up. That really stirs up the core muscles. And let's take a few moments to sit. I'm going to grab my trusty notes and my assistants. and my cup of tea. We'll take a few moments to find a nice seated position. The legs can be bent, they can be extended. Maybe sit on a blanket, bringing some height to your seat. Let's take a few more moments settling in, rooting into the sits bones, strengthening the legs, whether they're bent or extended, feeling the strength that the legs and the glutes give your position. Draw your belly in and tilt your pelvis slightly forward to help you control the arch of your lower back. Squeeze your ribs gently to help you lift that heart and find that expansion in your chest. But keep your shoulders soft. Neck lengthening. Remember, avoid this kind of action. I see this a lot in the yoga rooms. Try to keep that head and neck neutral. Maybe even a tiny tilt with your chin in, and feel the back of your neck lengthen as the crown of your head reaches for the ceiling. And you continue to root into the earth and into your center of gravity. That's a lot of effort for just sitting, but feel its results. Let's go one more breath. And then let's add 10 pulled fingers out to the sides, turning it into more of a seated mountain position. And take 2 breaths here. And then as you're ready, let's do some crescent moons. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale the right hand down. Use your next inhale, that leverage, to lengthen your spine before you eventually exhale and curve over. And let's stay here for a few breaths. Most of our practice will be movement based. Today, see if you can find movement, meaning little tiny actions. As you stay still in your curve, as you press into the floor, and as you lengthen that spine, and as you continue to breathe, do you feel tiny little actions in your body? Maybe going a little deeper. Can you feel that curve getting more curved without that collapsing feeling? Stick with it. One more breath. Press into the floor. Inhale, come back. Exhale that arm down. Stay here for 2 breaths. Feel the left side of your body in relation to the right side of your body. Does it feel different? And then we'll do the other side. Engaging, inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to form that foundation and stabilize that foundation. Soften the curve, the joints, so you're not rigid. Soft face, energy going to the stabilizing and the curving. One more breath. Use your inhale to come on back. Press back, press down. 2 breaths. That takes a lot of effort, being still in 2 breaths, doesn't it? Okay, so now we're going to switch the cross of our legs. So if your legs are extended, you can just kind of shake them out and change them a little bit. or maybe come to a cross-legged position. And those of us who switch, take a few moments to get used to the change, stabilize it, and come to those tent-poled mountain hands, root, ground, and use your breath and your attention to detail, your step-by-step movements to bring you into one more curve on this side. And notice if it feels a little different because the legs are different, the hips are different, so the pelvis is a little different. Pay attention to those little tiny nuances, or maybe they're huge. Go 2 more breaths. Use the breath to come back and to land and to reflect. And to create time and space for the next side. Take your time, bit by bit. Settle in, explore, enjoy, luxuriate. One more breath. Oh, I just felt a nice little crack. Felt so nice. Press in the floor to bring you back and to bring that hand back down. Take a couple of breaths. How do you feel? So now we're going to get a little bit more sequence based, a little bit more movement based. Let's start. So what we'll do, we're going to start in a table, and we'll do a few cats and cows to get our spine limbered up in that direction. And then we'll do some rocking horses, and then we'll turn those rocking horses into rolling cobras, and then see about maybe eventually going into dogs. So first things first, table pose. Pay attention. Make sure that your knees and your hands are equal distance apart. Lots of times I see folks with their knees really close and the hands really wide. That's not a table pose. That's something else. We want those knees and hands to be equidistant apart to give your hip and shoulder girdle a chance to be even. Shoulders are right over your elbows and wrists. Knees are right under those hips. So in other words, you're not like this, nor are you like this. Nice long spine. Press into the floor with the hands, the feet, and the knees, and start to curve your spine towards the ceiling. And then do the opposite. Slow curves to begin with. Slow, gentle curve shapes. And as you continue, start to bring the breath into it. Inhaling with one and exhaling with another. And be mindful that your curves are even, so that you're not lifting your upper arch higher than your lower arch. Like in other words, you're not like doing something like this with your hips real low and your head real high. And as you come down, your head is coming more down towards your hip level. You're curving your entire spine, not throwing your head up and down, not flinging your hips back and forth. Let's do a few more. I find slowing down the action allows me to be more disciplined in my effort, more disciplined in my attentiveness. I notice more. Let's do a few more. Getting that spine good and ready for some cobra action. Coming back to your table as you're ready. And taking a couple of breaths in your table. How does your table feel? If you need a break for your hands, you're more than welcome to sit back on your feet and kind of, shake them out. You could always rest in a child's pose also. I'm going to take a real quick sip of tea. I have my windows open, so allergies are abound. Okay. The price we pay to let fresh air into our house. Okay, so rocking horses from our table, bring the hands forward so they're well in front of your shoulders, and make sure that when you come forward, your shoulders don't go beyond your wrists. You want a nice, well-aligned, safe, kneeling plank. But you also need the hands to be in a place where you can stretch back in your child's pose and get that nice length in your spine. So you got to figure out the best place to put those hands. Taking your time, pressing in the earth to lift up and land in a nice strong plank. Leg muscles working, glutes and torso muscles working in tandem as you lift, and stretching out as you come back. Finding a rhythm and a range that works for you. And we'll keep going with our rocking horses. And you can do a few more. You could do a lot more, but if you want to go forth more into your rolling cobra, I'll show you that as you come forward. Instead of going into a plank, you bring your hips down and your thighs don't come all the way down to the floor, nor does your pelvis, because it's a pretty high cobra. And it's a high cobra, yeah, but we don't stay there very long because we're going back and forth. I lingered just to give you some time to look. So your plank has now turned into a cobra. Nice spine extending opportunity. And we'll keep going back and forth. You could always return to planks, rocking horses. You could always take a rest in a child's pose. You have lots of options here. Keeping the body moving keeps our lymphatic system moving. Remember, movement is that system's pump action, flushing lymph fluid through our bodies, cleansing our bodies, purifying our bodies. This is why movement feels so good. It helps us flush things out, ridding our bodies of physical toxins, which can eventually equate to emotional toxins. Turn it into a dog when you're ready. And as you come up into your dog, you can keep your dog pretty still, but a little bit of movement, lifting and lowering the heels. And you can come down and rest whenever you so desire, and you can turn your dogs back into rocking horses or rolling cobras. However, if you'd like to go a little deeper, you might want to go into some plank and down dog actions like I'm doing, and that will really heat your body up. And that takes a lot of effort and discipline. Strong arms, strong legs, glutes, core muscles, all working in tandem to keep you strong and safe. And if you ever get tired, come down and take a few breaths resting. There's discipline in taking breaks. There's discipline in understanding when you've taken it too far, right? Let's go about maybe 10 or so more breaths. You have so many options here. Looking good, feeling the length, the strength, the space, the energy, a lot going on. And you can pace yourselves so you can keep up with it. So if you start to get really worn out, maybe turn down the volume a little bit so you can keep up with it. There's a discipline and a sense of effort in pacing yourselves to keep that energy more efficient. We'll go a couple more breaths, giving you a chance to take a rest, or maybe you want to rev it up for a few. And at some point, we'll think about turning our dogs into a forward fold. You can hop to your feet, or you can walk and hands and feet towards each other, and take a few moments in your forward fold. And if you get dizzy, you could always come up into a half forward fold. But if you can, maybe drop that head, lengthen your spine, root your feet evenly so your legs are engaging on either sides, as well as the front and the back, keeping you good and stable. Knees can be bent. And when you're ready, hinge at the hips. Use that strong lower body to lift your upper body up, not your low back. And once you're up, take a few moments. What's it like? Maybe shake out the body, maybe clear out your mat. And then we'll start to heat it up a little bit more, for which I'm going to put my hair up. I wish I could find the right hair for yoga, because my hair is always getting in my way. My little instruments are always getting my way. Okay, so Vidal Sassoon the saint, but who cares? Okay, so let's do a nice warrior flow, and it'll seem familiar because we've been doing this a lot lately. We'll start with some chair poses to keep things good and balanced and go from there. So I'm going to show you from the side so that you'll understand more from there. And I'm going to come to this end so that when I open out, I'm facing you. So you come to the top of your mat and form a nice mountain pose. And let's root the feet, make sure shoulders over hips, over knees, over ankles, and then root the feet evenly so that you are engaging the leg muscles evenly, squeezing the leg bones, engaging your glutes slightly, drawing your belly and squeezing your ribs. Feel that lift in your heart. Engage your upper, your chest muscles, but avoid arching that back. Keep it neutral, soft shoulders, neck lengthening, crown of the head reaching towards the ceiling. One more breath here. And then let's make our way to a chair pose. Engage the muscles before you even begin. Use the breath to help you form the pose and to linger in the pose. Once you're there, make sure you're not arching your back. You've got that belly drawn in. One more breath. Maybe go a little deeper. And then when you're ready, use the breath to come back out. And let's visit that forward fold, hinging at the hips to come down, maybe halfway, maybe all the way. We'll spend one breath wherever we land. And then root the feet. Feel free to bend the knees to help you lift up and come back to your mountain pose. And we'll take one breath in our mountain pose. And then we'll use an inhale to step the right foot back. Use an exhale to bend the knee. Use an inhale to bring those arms up. Those cues help bring your energy and the awareness that each of those actions bring you. Exhale your hands into cactus arms. Oh, let's go back to upper arms. Let's do what Susan really liked last week. Let's do a few of those arm rolls. We bring the right arm down in the front and back up in the back. Try to keep your body facing forward as you circle your right arm around and around, and keep the body strong, legs strong, belly drawn in, shoulders soft. This will be our last. We'll finish there, and then we'll do the other side again. Root the feet to keep those legs good and strong, belly drawn in, heart lifted. Avoid overly arching your back. Feel that nice shoulder movement. Back muscles get a nice stretch with this. We'll do one more. And then we'll do both. Just for a few rounds, just to see what this is like. Strong legs will keep you good and strong. Building strength and bringing movement at the same time. Finishing in your warrior one, coming out into your warrior two as you're ready. And line up the feet. Remember, your front foot is lined up with your back foot for your warrior two, and you're facing alongside with your chest. You're not doing something like this. You're facing alongside so that you can open up this back arm as you turn the head. Turning the head brings people like this, so you want to make sure that you don't turn the head too soon. Yeah. And that makes it easier to do a sun. Let's lift up into a sun. And then let's do a few dynamically. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you lower. And avoid leaning onto the back arm as you come up, back leg, and avoid leaning onto the front leg as you come down, right? Legs are even. And then we'll come back to warrior two arms. Let's do a few bowing actions, bringing that back hand forward. Do that a few times. That can help you open up that back shoulder. Let's do two more. We'll finish with our warrior two arms, and we'll stay here for a breath or two. Nice job. And then when you're ready, use an inhale to step forward, finish that breath. And let's take 2 breaths in stillness in our mountain. Try to avoid answering any need to wriggle your body, to adjust your clothes, your hair. Let those things, just set them aside. Listen. Because then you've got time to do those things. You don't have to do them right away, right? And then we'll go to the other side. So I'm going to turn. So again, as I face out, I face you. We'll start in a mountain pose. Shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles lined up. Root the feet. Engage the muscles all the way from the feet to your chest. When you're ready, use an inhale to extend the arms and an exhale to come into your chair. Check in on that low back. Make sure you're not overly arching it. Maybe go a little deeper. You decide. 1 or 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, use an inhale to come up and an exhale, hinging at the hips, swan diving down to your fold, half or full. Land, spend a breath or 2 here. Notice what happens with those breaths. And when you're ready, press into the floor. Legs are strong, hinging at the hips to come back up. Land back in your mountain. A breath there. And then use your inhale to step the left foot back. You can take an extra breath or 2 when you're ready. An exhale bends the knee. An inhale brings the arms up. Good foundation. Another breath or two to ensure that we've got a good, strong foundation so that when we start our arm movements, we're not straining our back. We're not straining our shoulders. Rooting the feet, good, strong legs. Engaging the glutes, drawing the belly in. Squeezing the ribs gently, feeling that lift in the heart. One more. And then we'll do the other arm. So one arm goes round and round. So we really get a chance to open things up. Oh, I love these. Root the feet, especially that back foot, so you're not caving that back knee in. And then let's do both. We'll do a few both. Coming back to traditional warrior arms for a breath or two. And when you're ready, open out to your warrior two. Take your time. Take a few breaths to stabilize your warrior two. You've got a good, strong lower half that's supporting that upper half. And then let's do a sun, turning the front hand over, lifting up with an inhale. Make sure that back hand lands on the leg so you've got some leverage to reach that upper hand. Let's come back into our warrior two. Let's do that a few more times dynamically. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Good strong legs, working to support that upper body. Avoid, you'll feel the back leg a little bit more when you lean, when you curve back, and you might feel the front leg a little bit more as you come forward, but you don't want to exaggerate it. You don't want to collapse on either half, like I just did. One more. And we'll land in our warrior two arms, and we'll take a breath or two here, making sure that we're opening out to the long side, not facing the short side. Let's do a few of those bowing arm actions to help us with that back hand reaches forward. Feel that opening in that back shoulder. We'll land in our warrior two arms. We'll stay here for a breath or two. And when you're ready, use an inhale to step forward. Finish that breath and take two more breaths in stillness, resisting any urge to fidget. You don't have to answer every single call that your body alerts you to, because it might just be your mind telling that you need to wriggle. Your body might just want to be still. Now you can kind of shake it out, maybe do a little bit of leg tapping. And let me see our time, how we're doing with time. Okay, there we go. So now let's, we're running out of time. Let's do this. Let's do some triangles. And that will be, and triangles have a sense of balance. And we'll do a few triangles and then we'll make our way back down. So let's face the long side and let's make these somewhat action oriented. We'll do 3 for 3, I call it. So start in your mountain, facing the long side. And then when you're ready, heel toe out to wide feet. See if you can heel toe rather than step. Because if you step, that puts weight on the hips. And if you get get used to heel toeing the feet, it can make maneuvering your feet from pose to pose a little easier. So let's turn the feet out to the right. And remember, it's just the feet. So if you've turned your body to face that way, you're setting yourself up for a misaligned, imbalanced pose. So just the feet turn. We're still facing the long side. bring those arms up. Strong legs, strong torso. You don't want this action. You want an openness to your chest. And root into the feet, strengthen the legs and the glutes and your torso. Start to reach your right hand out to make it easier for you to bring that right hand down to the right knee and the left arm comes up. Let's stay here for one breath. Use your next inhale to come up and your exhale to bring the arms down and turn the feet back to the long side. Stay here for a breath. Next time you inhale, turn the feet to the left. Exhale, solidify that change. Engage the muscles. Next time you inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, soften the shoulders. Next time you inhale, press into the feet to reach. Exhale, bring that hand down to the knee and the arm goes up. And let's take one more breath. Use that time to press the feet into the floor to fine tune your pose. Next inhale brings you up. Exhale brings you down with the arms and the feet back to the long side. Take a breath here. Next time you inhale, turn the feet. As you exhale, stabilize your pose. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, soften the shoulders. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Let's stay here for 2 breaths. Maybe go deeper this time. Maybe bring the hand further down. Now, if you bring the hand further down and that turns your body and makes you look down, you're not ready to go down yet. Stay where you are and work on opening up that chest. And when you're ready, inhale back up. Exhale the arms down, the feet to the front. Take a breath. Next time you inhale, turn to the left. Exhale, fine tune that change. Inhale, lift. Exhale, soften the shoulders. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold and land. And we'll stay here for 2 breaths. Maybe going deeper. Maybe fine tuning, making sure your head's not down or up. It's in line with your neck and the rest of the spine. And when you're ready, use an inhale to lift. Exhale, lower, front feet. 1 breath here. Next inhale, we turn the feet. We exhale and stabilize that. Draw the belly in. That's a good time to do that. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, soften. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Now let's take 3 breaths and use that time to fine tune your pose. Root the feet evenly so the legs are evenly engaging. Maybe go a little deeper. Maybe straighten that arm up a little bit more. Maybe even look up at that hand. You've got all sorts of things you can be doing during those 3 breaths. And when you're ready, press the feet into the floor, draw the belly in, use the inhale to lift. Exhale, lower, feet back to the front. Take a breath. Inhale to the left. Exhale, stabilize and engage. Inhale, lift. Exhale, soften, yet root. Inhale, reach. Exhale, lower. 3 breaths here. Lots of time to fine tune, to go deeper, to maybe even back off where you've gone. You know, you've got options. You can try bringing that hand on that hip. Lots of things you can be doing here. Keep the feet evenly rooted so the legs are equally strong in your triangle. And that will go a long way in bringing you up evenly and helping you return to the center. Keep the feet wide for 2 breaths. Let that hip come back on its own. We want it to come back to its natural place before we ask it to do anything else. Discipline. Come on back, heel toe back to the center. Take a couple of breaths back in the center, maybe wriggle it out, maybe do some leg tapping and some marching. And let's go ahead. 3 for 3, I call that. Let's make our way back down to a seat, and let's meet in staff pose with the legs extended. Feel free to be sitting on a blanket. And here, let's ensure that our shoulders are lined up with our hips and our knees and our ankles. So it's like we're in a table pose, but we're sitting down and we've got a hinge in our hips. Just because we've sat down doesn't mean we've let our feet go wide and imbalanced. We want a sense of discipline and balance and effort to this seemingly simple pose. So once you've lined up the joints, point the toes to the ceiling to engage the leg muscles and feel that energy transcending up into your glutes. Gently squeeze the glutes, draw the belly and tilt your pelvis slightly forward to help you control the arch of your back as you lift your heart. Feel the chest expand, soften the shoulders, neck lengthening. Crown reaching for the ceiling, not your nose or your chin. That strains the neck and shoulders. And then let's add today's mudra, the gesture of the fist, and this helps cultivate our sense of discipline and our tapas. What you do is you close your hands in a fist with the thumbs extended out. And then you put the middle knuckles together so that the long knuckles are facing out. And the thumbs attach as well. And the thumbs stick up. So you see that? I'll come a little closer. You start with fists, middle knuckles together, and the thumbs together. Yeah, like that. So gesture of the fist and reconnect with all those structural elements. Strong legs, glutes, torso working in tandem. Good, strong, disciplined effort. Yet we want to lighten it a little bit. We don't want rigidity because rigidity closes things up and takes us to unsafe places. Let's go 3 more breaths, holding this gesture. Maybe close your eyes. Notice what holding this gesture feels like. It opens the chest, the shoulders. It promotes stronger breath, which can support the energy needed to stick with the plan, cultivating your sense of discipline and effort. 1 more breath. And we can release that mudra, and then let's go ahead and lie back on our backs with the knees bent, feet on the floor. So we'll land in a 2-legged table. We have just enough time for a bridge sequence and a couple of still bridges, and then we'll do some twisting and come into our Shavasana. So first things first, 2-legged table. And again, like in our staff and our mountain, we want to line up those joints. Shoulders in line with the hips and the knees and the ankles. Stacking the joints makes for a more solid, stable foundation that that minimizes stress, joint stress. Feet equally rooted, maybe right under the knees to give you more leverage. But if your knees are sore, bring the feet out more. Strong legs and glutes, torso included. Draw the belly in, feel that lift in your heart. Arms by the sides. And then when you're ready, nice foundation, bring your arms overhead and behind you, and then right back down where they started. Then press into the floor with those arms and the feet, lift your hips up into a bridge, and then bring the hips back down. And then do both. Press into the feet, the shoulders, your upper back to help you lift both at the same time, the arms and the hips. And then come right back down to where you started and start all over again. Inhale the arms, exhale the arms. Inhale the hips, exhale them back down. Inhale both arms and hips, exhale back down. So just the arms, and then just the hips, and then both. Avoid rushing any of the movements. Give each movement equal time, equal energy, equal attention. Attention to detail. Focus. Your heat, your discipline doesn't have to be energy depleting, like a marathon, right? Or 50 minutes on a bike. Let's do 2 more of these. So we'll finish the one we're on, and then we'll do 2 more, giving you plenty of time. If you ever need a little rest, you could do that. Inhale with the energy to bring that energy, and exhale to bring things back down. Notice, are things getting easier, more concise, more precise? Precision will go a long way in keeping this wieldy and interesting. Once you finish, take a couple of breaths. Avoid any movements once you get back to that 2-legged table. What's it feel like? And then if you need to move the feet and the knees a little bit, you could do that. Maybe fix your clothes a little bit. And then I'll give you time. We don't have much time. Let's build one bridge. One bridge. Well, you might build 2 if you have time. Strong legs and torso, working in tandem, got things lined up, pressing into the floor, engaging the muscles before you even start, using the inhale to lift just the hips up, and an exhale to solidify and fine tune and take the next few breaths to continue that. Maybe going higher, maybe going deeper, maybe bringing more precision to your detail, like knees and feet equidistance apart, feet equally rooted, all of these things. Using the exhale to bring you back down as you're ready. And we'll take a couple of breaths. I'll give you time if you would like to do another bridge. We have time. Just make sure that things are lined up, the muscles are engaging, and you're rooting into that earth to draw upon energies, the earth's powerful energies. Gravity keeps you down, but you're also resisting gravity to bring you up. After you've been down for a little bit of time, bring the feet a little further out. Maybe do a little windshield wiper action. And then at some point, settle into a still twist. Let the knees go to one side, arms wherever they want to be, and then turn your head to look over your shoulder. If your arms are out wide, shoulder height, that can be reminiscent of your warrior two arms. So as you look over one shoulder, notice what's going on in the other shoulder. Can you coax that shoulder down to the floor? This little simple action might help inform and fine tune your warrior two. Because we're doing the same thing here, aren't we? More or less. One more breath. Take your time. Use that breath to come back bit by bit and stay in the middle for a couple of breaths, registering the effects before you build your other twist, bit by bit. Fine tune when you get there, and then explore and breathe and notice. One more breath. Come on back as you're ready. Head first, then the knees. Stay here for a breath or two. And if you like, you can go into Apanasana one more time, or if you like, you can come into your Shavasana position. If you do take an Apanasana, make sure you return to your two-legged table for a couple of breaths before you extend out those legs. You don't want to come from an Apanasana to all the way out. Well, I'm going to go right into my Shavasana. And once you do land in your Shavasana, take a few moments, wriggle the body, and let the body land however it lands. Release into the weight and the shape of your body. And take a few moments to make sure that you're not straining your neck. You don't want your head to be like this. You want to be looking at the ceiling right above you, if not slightly in front of you. Soft shoulders and body. Soften your breath. I'm going to start to come up, but you stay right where you are. While Shavasana might seem to be the easiest pose in our practice, oftentimes it's the most challenging. I've heard stories where people just have to get up and leave during Shavasana, or they can't be still, or they're constantly thinking about things that don't apply to this present moment. These are all ideas of how, if we just take a few breaths, savor the moment, and relish the moment, and understand that the simplicity of this moment has so much to offer us. Physically, intellectually, emotionally. But it takes effort and discipline to be still, to be quiet, to put on your listening ears and your listening minds. We'll take just a few more quiet breaths. And as you're ready, start to deepen your inhales, your exhales. Build on the breath, build on the energy, movements, fingers, toes, hands, feet. Draw in your belly before you bring your arms and your legs into it. Take a couple of breaths in your two-legged table. And then after a couple of breaths in your two-legged table, turn to one side and stay there for a couple of breaths. If you apply a couple of breaths to each stage to your ascent, you've applied effort and discipline, and it becomes habit. And notice how that quiet, efforted ascent made you feel once you're up. Pick whatever seat feels right with whatever props, fix things and find your stillness. And let's apply our mudra again. Hands in a fist, thumbs sticking up, middle sections touching, thumbs touching. Hold that right in front of your solar plexus, just above your belly button. Strong legs and glutes in concert with your torso muscles, core muscles working together. Softness in the shoulders and face. One more breath. And you can release that mudra. Prayer hands, may you be safe, happy, and free from suffering. Namaste. And thank you so much for coming. I very much appreciate it. I will stop the recording. If you need to bump out, please feel free to do so. Thank you.